Ray Liotta's cause of death has been revealed. Nearly 1 year after the Goodfellas star died at the age of 67, new details of his death are being revealed.
Hollywood was stunned when Ray Liotta, known for his unforgettable roles, suddenly passed away while filming overseas. He seemed healthy, full of life, and ready for new projects. Then the autopsy results came, revealing a hidden story his loved ones never imagined. What secrets did his final hours hold? How did his life end so unexpectedly? When news broke that Ray Liotta had passed away, the reaction across Hollywood was immediate and deeply emotional. The actor had remained active in film and television, continuing to appear in new projects and collaborations. Nothing about his recent work suggested that his life was nearing its final chapter. For many people in the entertainment industry, the announcement felt sudden and difficult to understand. Liotta passed away in his sleep while working in the Dominican Republic. At the time, he was filming a movie and staying near the production location. The news reached the public quickly, but it arrived with very few details. There had been no reports of a serious illness. There had been no emergency hospital visits. There had been no public indication that his health was in danger. Because of that, the moment created confusion as well as grief. Colleagues, fans, and filmmakers struggled to understand how someone who had appeared energetic and fully engaged with work could suddenly be gone. Liotta had continued taking roles, attending events, and speaking about upcoming projects. His career had not slowed down. In fact, it had entered a strong and productive period. As tributes began to appear, many people reflected on the power of his performances. Directors remembered his commitment on set. Actors described the intensity he brought to every scene. Fans recalled the characters that made him unforgettable on screen. His work had stretched across several decades, and his presence in film had left a clear mark on modern cinema. During those early days after the announcement, most attention remained focused on honoring his career. Film studios, fellow performers, and media outlets shared memories that highlighted the influence of his roles. Many pointed to the unforgettable performance that defined his place in movie history. Others praised his ability to shift between powerful drama and lighter entertainment. While these tributes continued, very little information about the circumstances of his death was made public. His family chose to grieve privately, away from the intense spotlight that often follows the loss of a well-known actor. For a period of time, the situation remained quiet and respectful. However, the absence of details also created questions. Medical experts and observers understood that sudden deaths sometimes require formal examination before clear answers can be given. In cases involving unexpected passing, authorities often rely on an official autopsy to determine the true cause. That process takes time. Investigators must carefully study medical evidence and health records before reaching any conclusion. Because of that, the public waited months before learning more about what had happened. Eventually, the official findings were released. When the autopsy results became known, they revealed medical details that had not been visible during his daily life. The report explained that underlying health issues had quietly developed over time, and that revelation leads to the central question that still draws attention today. What truly happened during the final days of Ray Liotta? The relentless rise of a Hollywood icon. Long before the mystery surrounding his final days, Ray Liotta was simply a young boy growing up far from the bright lights of Hollywood. His story began with adoption shortly after birth. He was raised in a supportive family in Newark, New Jersey, a city known for its hard-working communities and strong neighborhood ties. His childhood was shaped by a normal routine. School, family gatherings, and community life filled most of his early years. Nothing about those early days suggested that he would eventually become one of the most recognized actors in American film. Yet the environment around him quietly built the discipline and determination that would later guide his career. As he grew older, Liotta developed an interest in performing. That curiosity eventually led him to study drama at University of Miami. The experience introduced him to professional acting techniques and stage performance. It also gave him the confidence to pursue a path that many young actors find difficult to enter. After completing his studies, he moved to New York City, where countless performers try to build careers in theater and television. The early stage of his journey required patience. Like many actors, he began with smaller roles that helped him gain experience and recognition. One of his first important opportunities arrived when he joined the daytime television drama Another World. His role on the series allowed him to appear regularly on screen and develop a connection with audiences. It also introduced casting directors to the intensity that would later define his film work. As his reputation slowly grew, Liotta began receiving offers for film roles. Directors noticed that he possessed a rare ability to bring emotional energy to complex characters. He could appear calm and controlled in one moment and deeply intense in the next. That contrast gave his performances a powerful edge. A major turning point arrived with the film Something Wild, where he played a dangerous and unpredictable character. The performance gained attention across Hollywood and earned him award nominations. Industry leaders began to recognize that he had the presence needed for major roles. However, the moment that permanently secured his place in film history came when he starred in the crime masterpiece Goodfellas, directed by Martin Scorsese. In the film, Liotta portrayed real-life mob associate Henry Hill. His performance captured the excitement, danger, and emotional tension of a man drawn into organized crime. The film quickly became one of the most respected crime movies ever made. Liotta's performance stood at the center of its success. Audiences were drawn to the realism he brought to the character, while critics praised the intensity of his screen presence. From that moment forward, his career expanded across many genres. He appeared in crime dramas, thrillers, comedies, and television productions. Directors valued his reliability and dedication to the craft of acting. What began as a modest life in New Jersey had transformed into a career that would influence cinema for decades. Ray Liotta had become one of the most recognizable faces in modern film, and his journey was far from finished. The night everything changed. In the spring of 2022, Ray Liotta traveled to the Caribbean nation of Dominican Republic to film a new movie titled Dangerous Waters. The production was moving smoothly, and Liotta remained focused on his work. Crew members later explained that he appeared energetic, professional, and deeply committed to the role he was preparing to perform. The actor was staying at a hotel near the filming location. During the days leading up to his death, he continued working normally with the cast and crew. There were no public reports of illness or visible signs of serious health problems. He attended production meetings, filmed scenes, and spent time preparing for upcoming work. Liotta had built a reputation in Hollywood as someone who treated every project seriously. Even after decades in the industry, he still approached filming with careful attention and discipline. Those around him during the production later described him as calm, focused, and fully present in the work. Then, during the early hours of a quiet morning in May, something unexpected happened. Ray Liotta passed away in his sleep at the age of 67. The news quickly spread across the entertainment industry and stunned people around the world. Many fans could not believe that an actor who had been actively filming only hours earlier was suddenly gone. Production on the film immediately stopped as the cast and crew tried to process the shock. Messages of sadness began appearing across social media and news outlets. Actors, directors, and longtime collaborators expressed deep respect for the performer who had delivered so many unforgettable roles. For many observers, the most confusing part was the suddenness of the event. Liotta had not publicly discussed any serious medical condition. He had remained active in film and television and appeared to be enjoying a strong period of work late in his career. Because he had passed away while working overseas, local authorities began standard procedures to determine the cause of death. At first, very few details were shared publicly. His family focused on mourning privately, while arrangements were made to return him to the United States. As the days passed, the mystery surrounding his passing only grew deeper. People wondered how an actor who seemed healthy and active could pass away so suddenly while sleeping. Fans, journalists, and members of the film industry all waited for clearer answers. Eventually, medical investigators would begin the process of examining what truly happened in his final hours. And the results of that examination would reveal medical details that no one had expected when the shocking news first broke. The autopsy findings that raised new questions. Several months after Ray Liotta's death, medical investigators released the official autopsy findings. The examination was carried out by authorities in the Dominican Republic, where he had passed away while filming. These results finally provided a clearer explanation for the sudden loss that had shocked the film industry. The autopsy determined that Liotta passed away from heart-related and breathing-related conditions during sleep. Doctors identified atherosclerosis, a disease that affects the arteries and restricts blood flow to the heart. This condition develops slowly over many years as fatty deposits build up inside the blood vessels. Investigators also identified respiratory problems linked to pulmonary edema. This condition occurs when fluid collects in the lungs and interferes with normal breathing. When combined with heart disease, it can become extremely dangerous, especially during sleep when the body is at rest. Medical experts explain that these conditions can sometimes remain undetected for long periods. In many cases, a person may appear healthy and active, while the disease slowly progresses without obvious warning signs. The report also noted that the death was natural. There was no evidence of foul play or external factors connected to the event. For investigators, the findings brought clarity to the medical cause. However, for many people close to Liotta, the results still felt deeply surprising. Friends and colleagues had seen him working steadily and traveling for film projects. His strong presence on screen and his active schedule had given the impression that he remained in good physical condition. The news also reminded many people how unpredictable certain health conditions can be. Heart disease often develops silently, especially when symptoms are mild or unnoticed. In some cases, the first major sign of the illness is a sudden medical emergency. Although the investigation had answered the central medical question, it also led to reflection across the industry. Many people began thinking about how demanding careers, travel schedules, and long working hours can affect long-term health. For Liotta's family, the release of the autopsy findings marked an important moment. It closed the official investigation while allowing loved ones to focus on honoring the memory of a man whose career had touched millions of viewers. Even with the medical explanation now clear, one truth remained unchanged. The loss of Ray Liotta had come far sooner than anyone expected, leaving behind a legacy that continued to resonate across generations of film lovers. Now, before we move further, let's take a look at the details of his personal life. Love, fatherhood, and life away from the camera. While his on-screen performances often showed intense and dangerous characters, his private life was centered on family and close personal bonds. Over the years, he experienced both marriage and long-term relationships that played an important role in his life. In 1997, Liotta married actress and producer Michelle Grace. Their relationship began after they met during the filming of the television movie The Rat Pack. The two quickly developed a strong connection, and their marriage soon became an important part of his personal life. During their time together, the couple welcomed a daughter named Carson Liotta. Becoming a father marked a major turning point for Liotta. Friends and colleagues often noted that he took fatherhood very seriously and placed great importance on being present in his daughter's life. Although his career required long hours and frequent travel, he tried to balance professional work with family responsibilities. Over time, his relationship with his daughter became one of the most meaningful parts of his life. His marriage to Michelle Grace eventually ended in divorce in 2004. Despite the separation, both parents remained committed to raising their daughter and maintaining a stable family environment. As Carson grew older, she began exploring the entertainment industry herself. Her interest in acting created another connection between father and daughter. Liotta often expressed pride in her accomplishments and supported her efforts as she developed her own path. Later in life, Liotta entered another significant relationship with actress and producer JC Nitolo. The two began dating in the late 2010s and eventually became engaged. Their relationship represented a new chapter of happiness during the later years of his life. Friends described their partnership as supportive and stable. They often appeared together at public events, and their relationship reflected a quieter side of Liotta that many fans rarely saw. Through marriage, fatherhood, and long-term relationships, Liotta maintained a personal life that remained mostly private. He rarely shared intimate family details with the media, choosing instead to protect the people closest to him from constant public attention. These personal connections became an important foundation in his life, providing support and stability throughout his long career in Hollywood. Challenges behind the Hollywood success. During the 1990s and early 2000s, Liotta faced moments when his career momentum slowed. After the massive success of Goodfellas, expectations for his future roles became extremely high. Some films received mixed reactions from critics, which created pressure on his professional reputation. Hollywood can be an unpredictable industry, and actors often experience periods where major roles become harder to secure. Liotta experienced this reality as well. Although he continued working steadily, there were moments when he appeared in smaller projects or films that did not achieve major commercial success. In addition to career challenges, he also faced personal controversies that briefly attracted media attention. One widely reported incident occurred in 2007 when Liotta was arrested in the city of Pacific Palisades in the United States after a minor car accident. Authorities reported that he was charged with driving under the influence. The situation became a short-lived headline in entertainment news and added an uncomfortable moment to his public image. Events like this reminded the public that life in the spotlight can place personal mistakes under intense scrutiny. For actors with long careers, even small incidents can receive widespread attention. Despite these setbacks, Liotta did not allow controversy or career slowdowns to define him. Over time, he continued accepting new roles and working with directors who appreciated his talent. His persistence allowed him to rebuild momentum and remain active in the industry. Another challenge he often spoke about was being strongly associated with a single iconic role. His performance in Goodfellas became so powerful that some casting directors initially saw him only as a crime film actor. This type of typecasting can limit opportunities for performers who want to explore different characters. Liotta gradually pushed beyond that limitation by accepting roles in different genres. He appeared in thrillers, dramas, comedies, and television productions. This effort helped show that his acting abilities extended far beyond the character that first made him famous. The chapter highlights an important truth about long careers in Hollywood. Success often comes with periods of criticism, setbacks, and public scrutiny. What matters most is how a person responds to those challenges. For Ray Liotta, the answer was persistence. Instead of stepping away from the industry, he continued working and rebuilding his reputation through dedication and professionalism. By the time the later stage of his career arrived, he had regained strong respect within the entertainment world. Filmmakers once again recognized the depth of his talent, and new audiences began discovering his work. The night everything changed. In the spring of 2022, Ray Liotta traveled to the Dominican Republic to film a new thriller titled Dangerous Waters. The production brought together a cast and crew who were preparing to shoot scenes in coastal locations across the island. For Liotta, it was another opportunity to continue the strong career momentum he had been enjoying in recent years. The filming schedule was active but organized. Cast members and production staff followed a daily routine that included rehearsals, camera preparation, and long hours on set. Despite the demands of the schedule, reports from people working on the film described Liotta as focused and professional. He remained engaged with the project and continued performing his role with the same intensity that had defined his career for decades. During breaks between filming, Liotta spent time reviewing scripts and preparing for upcoming scenes. Colleagues said he treated the project seriously and approached the work with the dedication of someone who still loved acting. His presence on set helped maintain a steady atmosphere for the entire production team. Liotta was staying at a hotel near the filming locations. The arrangement allowed him to travel easily between the set and his accommodations. According to people involved in the production, nothing about his behavior suggested that anything unusual was happening. He appeared relaxed and continued working normally as filming progressed. In the days leading up to his death, Liotta remained involved in the production schedule. He participated in filming sessions and prepared for future scenes that were planned for the coming weeks. Crew members later explained that he seemed calm and in good spirits while carrying out his responsibilities. Then, during the early hours of one morning in May, the situation suddenly changed. Ray Liotta passed away in his sleep at the age of 67.
Ray had been in the Dominican Republic filming his new movie, Dangerous Waters, and died in his sleep. News on his cause of death comes nearly 5 months after.
The news quickly spread through the hotel and the film set. Members of the production team were stunned by the sudden loss of a colleague who had been working beside them only hours earlier. Because the death occurred during an international film shoot, local authorities began the normal process used to understand unexpected deaths. Officials in the Dominican Republic were responsible for conducting the initial examination and reviewing the circumstances surrounding the event. The production of Dangerous Waters paused immediately as the cast and crew processed what had happened. Filmmakers who had been working with Liotta only the day before struggled to understand how such a sudden loss could occur without warning. News of his death soon reached the wider entertainment industry. Fans across the world reacted with shock and sadness. Many people had recently seen Liotta in new film and television roles, which made the news even more difficult to comprehend. One of the reasons the situation felt so confusing was the absence of public signs that anything was wrong. There had been no reports of a medical emergency during filming. Liotta had not spoken publicly about any serious health concerns in the months before his trip. Because of this, questions quickly began circulating within the media and among fans. People wanted to understand how an actor who appeared active and fully engaged in his work could suddenly pass away while sleeping. For Liotta's family, the moment was deeply painful. Loved ones began grieving privately while arrangements were made to manage the difficult situation overseas. The focus remained on bringing clarity to what had happened and ensuring that proper medical examinations could be completed. Medical professionals soon began preparing for the next step in the process. A full autopsy would be required to determine the exact cause of death. Investigators needed to study the medical evidence carefully before reaching any conclusions. At that moment, many people were left waiting for answers. The sudden passing of Ray Liotta had raised difficult questions about his final hours and the condition of his health. Those answers would eventually arrive months later. When the medical findings were finally released, they would reveal details about his health that few people had ever suspected. The autopsy that revealed the truth. Months after the death of Ray Liotta, medical authorities in the Dominican Republic completed their investigation and released the official autopsy report.
Nearly 1 year since the death of actor Ray Liotta, we are learning more on the cause of his death. You might recall Liotta died in his sleep last May while filming a movie.
The document provided the first clear medical explanation for the sudden loss that had shocked the film industry. The examination focused on identifying the physical conditions that may have contributed to his death. Medical investigators carefully studied the state of his heart, lungs, and circulatory system. Their goal was to understand what had happened during the night when he passed away in his sleep. The report concluded that Ray Liotta passed away from natural causes related to problems involving his heart and respiratory system. Doctors determined that he had been living with a condition known as atherosclerosis. This disease affects the arteries and slowly reduces the flow of blood to the heart. Atherosclerosis develops when fatty deposits gradually build up along the inner walls of blood vessels. Over time, these deposits can narrow the arteries and make it harder for blood to move through the body. In many cases, the condition progresses quietly, without producing strong or obvious symptoms. Because the disease develops slowly, people may continue living active lives without realizing that their cardiovascular system is under stress. Medical experts explain that this type of hidden heart condition can sometimes lead to sudden medical emergencies. The autopsy also identified a second factor connected to the respiratory system. Doctors found signs of pulmonary edema, a condition that occurs when fluid builds up inside the lungs. This fluid can interfere with normal breathing and place additional pressure on the heart. When heart disease and respiratory complications occur together, the risk of a sudden medical event becomes much higher. Investigators concluded that these combined conditions played a central role in Liotta's death during sleep. The report confirmed that the death was natural and not connected to foul play. There was no evidence suggesting outside factors or suspicious circumstances. For authorities, the findings closed the official investigation. However, the results still came as a surprise to many people who had known Liotta personally or professionally. Friends and colleagues remembered seeing him working actively on film sets and traveling for new projects. His strong presence and busy schedule had created the impression that his health was stable. Medical experts often explain that cardiovascular disease can remain hidden for many years. Some individuals may not experience clear warning signs until the condition becomes severe. In certain cases, the first major symptom appears suddenly and without advance notice. For Liotta's loved ones, the findings brought both answers and sorrow. The report revealed that the condition had likely been developing quietly over time. The release of the autopsy results marked the final stage of the official inquiry into his passing. With the medical facts now understood, attention gradually shifted toward honoring the legacy of a performer whose work had shaped modern crime films and dramatic storytelling. The grief of those who knew him best. When the official autopsy results were released, the death of Ray Liotta began to feel more real for the people who had known him closely. The medical explanation had answered the major questions about how he passed away, but it did not reduce the emotional weight of the loss. For his family, friends, and professional partners, the confirmation brought both clarity and deep sadness. One of the people most affected was his daughter, Carson Liotta. She had shared a close bond with her father for many years. Liotta often spoke about how proud he was of her and how important their relationship was to him. As she grew older, she also entered the entertainment industry and followed a creative path of her own. Their connection remained strong as she began building her own career. After his death, many people close to the family focused on supporting her during a very difficult period. Losing a parent is always painful, but the sudden nature of Liotta's passing made the situation even harder to process. There had been no long illness and no warning that the end was approaching. The family had been expecting many more years with him. Friends who had known Liotta personally described him as very different from the characters he often played on screen. In many films, he portrayed dangerous, unpredictable, or intense figures. These performances became a defining part of his public image. However, those who spent time with him away from the cameras often described him as thoughtful and caring. Colleagues remembered a man who valued loyalty and friendship. On film sets, he was known for arriving prepared and focused. At the same time, he made an effort to build positive relationships with the people around him. Crew members often noted that he treated everyone with respect, from directors and fellow actors to the technicians working behind the cameras. As news of his death spread across the entertainment world, reactions began appearing from many different corners of the industry. Actors, producers, and directors spoke openly about the impact he had made during his long career. For many of them, Liotta had been more than just a performer in a famous film. He had been a trusted colleague and a creative partner. The response from the public was also strong. Fans from many countries shared their memories of the films and television projects that had shaped their view of his work. His performance in Goodfellas remained one of the most widely discussed roles of his career. The film had introduced him to a global audience and helped establish him as a powerful figure in modern cinema. For many viewers, the character he portrayed in that film had become unforgettable. Yet, people who worked with him often explained that his real personality was much warmer and more relaxed than the intense figures he brought to life on screen. The suddenness of his death remained one of the most painful aspects of the loss. In many cases, families have time to prepare when a loved one is facing a long illness. In Liotta's case, the end arrived without warning. One day he was actively filming a movie in the Dominican Republic, and the next day the world was hearing about his passing. This abrupt change created a deep emotional shock for those closest to him. Friends who had spoken with him recently struggled to accept that their conversations had been among the final moments of his life. Despite the sadness, many people also began reflecting on the lasting legacy he had created. Over several decades, Liotta appeared in dozens of films and television projects. His work reached audiences across different generations and introduced his talent to viewers in many parts of the world. Family members and colleagues gradually shifted their focus toward remembering the positive impact he had made. Instead of concentrating only on the tragedy of his death, they spoke about the dedication he showed to his craft and the kindness he often displayed in private life. The grief remained strong, but it was accompanied by a sense of gratitude. Ray Liotta had left behind a powerful body of work and a reputation for professionalism that continued to inspire others in the film industry. For those who knew him best, the loss created a quiet space that could never be fully filled. Yet the memories of his work, his friendships, and his family connections ensured that his influence would continue long after his final film appearance.